All right, let's turn right now to preparations for what could be a pretty chaotic week of holiday travel across the country. Thanksgiving is already a busy time to fly, drive, or take the train, but there are a couple of factors making next week even more difficult for trips.
We've got all of the built-up demand from the pandemic to start. Borders that have finally reopened, the potential for a little rough weather thrown in there, and a federal vaccine requirement that could lead to a shortage of TSA workers.
All of this to say, if you're traveling, start to prepare.
And joining us right now to help us be prepared is Francesca Page, a travel journalist known as Miss Travel Guru. Francesca, thanks so much for coming back to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
So I guess really the first big question for you tonight is, for someone who is traveling next week, how should they be getting ready right now?
Well, the best way to get ready is to start planning now. If you haven't already, you've got to start planning now, because travel during the pandemic requires both long and short-term planning to secure things like flights and accommodations, while leaving room for last-minute changes in any regulations, flight schedules, or coronavirus infection rates. Also, you've got to be prepared to adapt. Have a cushion both financially and around your logistics and departure times, particularly, again, if you're flying. In general, it looks like travelers are either booking for tomorrow or they're booking for next year. And many travelers really want to get away, even around Thanksgiving, but they're kind of pushing any plans to the last minute just to make sure nothing changes. However, keep in mind that waiting can be expensive, as prices have increased across the industry and may continue to do so.
And even with travel expected to rebound from last year, some people may not have really traveled yet. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. What specifically, or how does that specifically affect things like hotels and restaurants and airlines? What are things that people should be looking out for that they may not remember from the last time they tried to travel?
Well, you want to expect that you may experience limited services. Now, the experience of travel continues to be affected by staffing and other challenges. Your hotel's restaurant, for example, might be closed, and daily room cleaning is available upon request in many hotels. Now, that part of the business requires a lot more staffing than just the standard operations, and that's where hotels are having to cut back because they just don't have enough people. Also, rental cars remain in short supply and prices are high, in some cases double or triple pre-pandemic rates.
Francesca, we also have this potential staffing shortage with the TSA. I guess the latest report showing about 40% of TSA agents still haven't been vaccinated. That's a little bit old, so the numbers may have changed significantly from that, but the deadline is Monday. What is the potential impact there?
Well, the TSA is actually predicting that 131 of the nation's airports will be experiencing staffing shortages this month. Now, in response, they're even now asking office employees to volunteer at airports for up to 45 days. Now, some airlines are following suit, like American Airlines, for example, who's temporarily bringing back several hundred of its reservation agents who previously accepted buyouts to work through the busy summer months. So in general, travelers need to expect they may experience limited service due to staffing and other challenges.
Of course, we're not just looking at the next week or so. There's going to be a lot more travel over the next month and beyond. So what kind of vacations are people going to be taking?
Right, well, city breaks are going to be on the rise, particularly as international travel opens up, which is great because they tend to boast the most amount to do during this time of year. New York, for example, is a hub for the holidays. You've got stylish hotels right on Central Park, for example, like the Voco, the Franklin, New York, which captures the magic of the Upper East Side and is within a stone's throw of Madison Avenue's world-class shopping and incredible restaurants. Beach vacations as well are going to be popular, and most popular destinations are going to be places like the Caribbean and Mexico, and ski destinations are going to be popular as well. And they're seeing increased interest with people looking to make up for those ski trips that they missed last year.
Yeah, especially as our weather starts to get colder here. A lot of people are looking for maybe a warmer climate to visit. Finally, Francesca, we're almost out of time so quickly, but you mentioned that people need to be flexible because we have all these changing regulations. You think about travel insurance, and is that a good thing to buy? I mean, what is your advice to people as they're trying to kind of juggle all of that?
Absolutely. A few things I would say. Track your flights. Make sure that you track flights so that you get the most updated rates, because they will go up and down quite frequently in the coming weeks. Don't be afraid to book as soon as you see a rate that you can afford, because you don't know how that is going to change. So that is the first thing I would say. In terms of insurance, of course, it's always good to have some sort of travel insurance and be flexible in terms of the way that you get to your destination, whether that's driving or flying. That would be my advice.
She's Miss Travel Guru, travel expert Francesca Page. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you.